Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and once again we're going to play Star Trek Judgment Rites. Again, this is a fairly older game, so I don't know how well OBS is going to interact with it. I completed missions 1 through 3 yesterday, and we're moving on to mission 4. So let's go ahead, have a little bit of fun, live some nostalgia here. I believe the name of this episode is Light and Darkness. Episode 4, Light and Darkness. Alright.
I advise referring to the star map and setting a course for the Onius system, Captain.
Okay, Onius, 11.
Approaching Onius 2, Captain.
It may be nothing, Captain, but a scan of the planet's atmosphere indicates a high concentration of rare gases trapped in the planet's magnetosphere. Atmospheric disturbances could produce random radio waves.
It wouldn't be the first time, Mr. Spock, but we'll never be able to tell if we don't check it out. After all, to seek out new life and new civilizations is our mission, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
A split infinitive, Captain.
What?
The proper grammatical expression is to go boldly where no man has gone before.
Somehow, I think it loses a little in the translation.
Entering standard orbit.
Captain, our sensors will not be particularly useful to you while you're down there, and communications may be erratic, sir.
We'll be fine, Lieutenant. What reason is there to worry?
I'm afraid, Captain, there are plenty of precedents. We'll be here if you need us.
I have no doubt of that.
I have tracked the signal to its source. It is near the life forms. The rest of the planet is quite desolate. No sign of life or technology. The atmosphere is thin, but breathable. And I detect numerous micrometeorite hits.
There are 3 unformed planets in this system. It's no wonder. There are so many micrometeorites. I'm surprised any Class M planet hasn't been pulverized by now.
It is not inconceivable, but it is certainly unusual.
Let's do it, Spock. You, McCoy, and I. Oh, and tell Bones to see if a genetic specialist is available. If there are only 2 life forms, we might be privileged to see life at its earliest stages.
On a skeleton after the vultures have picked it clean.
A fascinating analogy, Doctor. Captain, the locus of the distress signal is in that building.
I think the doctor is right. Anything good here died a long time ago. It feels creepy to me.
Thank you for that opinion, Mr. Johns. I'll be certain to use creepy in my log entry about this.
Well, I have to hand it to whoever built this place. All this equipment looks brand new and in good repair.
Let's hope the Enterprise looks this good when it's this old.
We should be very careful about how we proceed, Captain. I have a strange feeling that evil is lurking nearby.
Evil, Ensign?
Something that wants to imperil our souls, sir. We must avoid that at all costs.
Captain, Ensign Johns would be the ideal person to operate this device. It appears to be ancient, yet resembles devices that were introduced into the Federation last year.
Wow, this is almost identical to an 8000 sequencer. Cutting-edge Federation technology. Just input a sample, and the sequencer analyzes it so it can be spliced or altered on the genetic level with the replicator. Captain, we have to run a set of source samples through the sequencer before I can make a composite sample with the replicator.
No effect.
Readings indicate that along with oxidation and dust, there is some organic residue in the crust-like buildup.
No effect.
A unique use of a phaser, but adequate for removing the deposits from the apparatus.
welcome you, otherworlders. I beseech you, save us from that which seeks our destruction.
How fitting for a devil to appear on a world that looks like hell.
Enough of that, Mr. Johns. This is just another xenobiological entity.
Correction, Doctor. This is a projection of a xenobiological entity.
Jim, the only life form readings are within that machine behind the portal. Single-cell organisms with an extremely high reproductive rate, but a very poor metabolism and an extremely short lifespan.
Greetings, I am James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise. What can we do for you?
I am Visner of the Alphan people. Our race possessed this world and thrived here until the invasion by the forces of light. We are locked in a death struggle with them, for they desire our destruction. Do you aid them?
No, we do not aid them. Wars and destruction are not things we value, Visner. Our prime directive prevents us from interfering in internal struggles. But at the request of all parties, we might negotiate a compromise. Forgive me, but I find that claim insupportable. This world, while grim, wars and destruction.
You open yourself to confusion in speaking with Azra, but it is understandable that you want to hear his side before acting. My assessment of you suggests that most of you will fight the clouding of logic and will see through Azra's deception. Please report to me your success.
Greetings, gentle beings, and welcome. I am Azra of the Omegan people. You are the salvation we have long sought. Thank you for answering our summons.
An angel!
Actually, it is the projected image of an angel, Mr. Johns.
Jim, somewhere in that machine behind the portal are single-cell organisms. They have a healthy metabolism and long lifespan, but an extremely low rate of reproduction.
So where's the emergency? Greetings, I am James T. Kirk of the USS Enterprise. What can we do for you?
I am Azra of the Omegan people, an ancient and venerable race which labors to prevent the domination of this world by the forces of darkness. We require you to expunge this place of our mortal enemies.
Captain, the most worthwhile purpose in life is to fight against the forces of darkness. We must help him.
Enemies? This world is so barren that all the life on it is located right here. If you have mortal enemies, we've not seen them. Who are you talking about? Our prime directive prohibits us from taking part in wars on one side or the other. It would be seen as intervention. We are willing to negotiate a compromise.
You imperil your soul by conversing with the enemy, that sugar-tongued Visner. I cannot protect you, but I do not imagine I can dissuade you either. Go, do what you must. I do not have that much time, but will be here if you seek to comply with my request.
There's no need to leave. We've already talked with Visner. I have to say that I find many of your claims insupportable.
Insupportable? How can you defend a race whose very existence is based upon deceit and foul lies?
Foul lies? Their position contradicts yours, but there are similarities. You dwell on your differences so much, you just can't see them. Frankly, Azra, Visner is quite rational and makes you, for a being of goodness, you're rather bloodthirsty. Foul lies? Their position contradicts yours, but there are similarities.
Captain, they're as different as angels and demons.
Similarities? They are beings of shadow. They mock our perfection. They are our antithesis, created after we were to destroy us and our potential for good.
You repeatedly proclaim yourself good and suggest you are morally superior to the Alphans. Why don't you act like it? If you're so perfect, how come you need our help? You said they were created after you were. How do you know that?
We know we came first because that is what our sacred scriptures tell us. In the light we were born and commanded to shun that which dwells in darkness. This clearly tells us that we came first. Surely you can see that. Or is it that you have some other interpretation of the event that birthed the Omegans?
Does your sacred scriptures explicitly say that no beings were created before you?
Dare you suggest they came first?
Let's see what we've got. 2 single-celled organisms, each incapable of survival on their own. One lives in light, the other lives in darkness. Each must live a limited and unstable life without the other.
Captain, do you know what you're doing?
Allow us to unite you again. Your combined strengths will make you a viable entity again.
The persuasiveness of your arguments has opened for me a door through which I spy a future and a truth that I have long denied. You are correct. Perhaps being only half of a whole, I could not see the solution. Yes, I desire your help for my people. Help us.
The sample dish feels warm to the touch.
I am reactivating Visner, Captain.
Was it not as I said it would be? Are not the Omegans a fanatical race, uninterested in anything but fulfilling some self-contradictory messianic destiny for themselves? I assume they filled your heads with their warped theology.
Frankly, Visner, Azra is certainly committed to his cause, but hardly the blood-mad fanatic you describe him to be. Warped theology. It is true they differ greatly from you, but your worldviews are based on common beliefs. You see things from different perspectives, that's all.
Are you utterly ungrounded in logic? They are creatures of superstition. They invaded our world, then sought to drive us from it. How can you suggest we are anything alike?
You question my grounding in logic, but you don't apply logic to an examination of Alphan beliefs. Aren't they concerned with the same things you are? You're supposed to be the reasonable one. Your facts can't be very persuasive. If you said they usurped your place in the world, which suggests prior ownership by you, what evidence do you have to support that concept?
We know we came first because they invaded us. An invasion suggests they came to take away that which we possessed. Clearly you can see that.
How do you know they didn't exist on this world before you encountered them?
Do you further suppose they came first and we invaded them?
I see there are only single-celled organisms here, each with a defect. Perhaps at one time, the Alpha and Omega life forms were united. A strong, viable species that became divided. Only by reuniting can you hope to survive. And only through mutual cooperation and our help can you reunite.
Captain, this thing is evil. We can't unite them.
Your position is unassailable and points out the one and only purpose for our races. Thank you, Captain Kirk, for making me see that. Yes, I desire your help for my people. Help us.
You take the alpha sample, which feels cold to the touch.
I don't know why, but I could not get a good sampling.
Ensign, let Dr. McCoy try that troublesome sequence.
I can do the job, sir, if I can have some peace and quiet here.
Mr. Johns, I think I'm getting a clear picture here of your difficulties. Do you realize that insubordination is an offense punishable by a court-martial? It looks to me that you're deliberately trying to mislead us. That's not a good career move. Calm down, Ensign. No one is criticizing you. I just need answers.
I appreciate the offer, Captain, but I know what's right and wrong here, so I don't need your help.
Ensign, I appreciate your situation, but this is not the time for philosophy. You have a job to do. Ensign, you are here as a genetic engineer, not as a philosopher. I expect my orders to be obeyed, and if you have a problem with them, I don't expect to be deliberately misled.
I regret my attempt to mislead you. I will accept whatever punishment you feel is necessary.
What is it you think I'm asking you to do, Ensign?
You don't understand, Captain. Look at the Alphans and look at the Omegans. There's so much evil in the universe. You're asking me to destroy a race of good and beauty by mixing their genetics with something ugly, something evil. I can't do it.
Ensign, I think you're confusing things. The Alphans and Omegans are single-celled creatures. While the projections may have seemed sophisticated and human, they are constructs. You can look at the sequence and tell what you have there for DNA could never produce such a creature, can't you? I am asking you to do nothing of the kind, Ensign. You believe in the struggle of good against evil, and I respect that. But the application of your philosophical perspective is misplaced here. The Alphans and Omegans are single-celled creatures. They are no more capable of good or evil than a tribble. Can't you see that?
Single cells. You're right. I've been a real idiot. I suppose I should take a refresher course in Aesop.
It wouldn't hurt. Some of the wisest people in history have written for children.
Never judge an input card by its label. I guess that was the trap I fell into and kept me from doing my job and made me deceive my captain.
If it's any consolation, you're not very good at deception, Ensign.
Thank you, sir. I hope you'll give me a chance to correct my mistakes. Do you think we're really meant to combine the two races?
You've programmed the sequences. You can tell whether they're compatible.
Sir, the sequencer indicates that they need to be combined for their continual survival. But how did you know?
I listened to Dr. McCoy. It seemed the logical conclusion, given the evidence.
Thank you, Captain.
The alpha sample is sequenced, sir. This sample sequence is like a dream.
I was unaware you had...
Captain, we have to run a set of source samples through the sequencer. The two samples have joined together as easily as if they had once been a whole and had been separated before.
Any race that had this technology 50,000 years ago could possibly have been able to perform such a dissection and kept both halves alive.
Captain, with the samples sequenced together, I'm ready to use the replicator to produce a sample with the combined genetic data.
No effect.
I am producing a new culture, Captain. Captain, the genetic sequence is still stored in the computer. If we need another sample, the replicator can generate it. I officially christen this life form the Gammons.
Well, Jim, it doesn't look like it does anything. Oh, I guess I spoke too soon. It took it in. It looks as if the colony is getting a foothold in there.
Life energy levels are spiking. They're building to a level sufficient for sending out a signal 100 times stronger than the one that brought us here, Captain.
The Gammon sample appears to be thriving in this environment.
Thank you for your hard work. You have fulfilled the design for which we were created. I am authorized to tell you. Thank you for your hard work. You have fulfilled the design for which we were created. I am authorized to tell you.
It would appear there is more to this message than we are receiving.
Kirk to Uhura, are you receiving any strange subspace or radio signals?
Captain, there is a neutrino-based transmission being broadcast near your current position from a point of unknown origin, probably from another star system. Our equipment is not designed to handle it, though given 1 to 2 weeks, we might be able to identify patterns and extrapolate what it's trying to say.
We'll work on the problem from here. Kirk out.
An antenna. I wonder what it was meant for.
That's what we're here to find out, Mr. Johns.
The array appears to have deployed recently, which explains its lack of damage. The focal point of the dish is aligned approximately 35 degrees above the horizon. This appears to be similar to Federation technology, Captain. Its control principles are similar to the Medaille sensor dish on Vulcan. It has locked the array at a 35-degree angle. Without knowledge of the code control sequence, I cannot adjust it. I also detect that its power core is not functioning. It operates on geothermal energy, tapping into heat from the ground below. The array appears to have deployed recently, which explains its lack of damage. Those support... The array dish is quite sturdy and doubtless still functional. Captain, until power has been returned to these controls, there is nothing I can do. Captain, I do not believe that will help our mission. Captain, although this rock formation does indirectly lead to the thermal core, I suggest finding an area that would allow a more direct transfer of energy. These rocks are approximately 1.3 billion years old and are volcanic in origin. Nothing unusual. The energy level is insufficient, Captain. We cannot generate the energy level needed to provide geothermal energy with hand phasers.
If it's thermal energy you want, Jim, I remember this planet that used a starship's phasers on a microwave setting to heat the surrounding rock to provide temporary power.
An interesting observation, Doctor. We could use the same technique here, but the beam would have to be extremely precise. If we targeted the wrong section, we could melt the rock and destroy the array. This appears to be the most accessible spot to heat the rocks below the ground and generate geothermal energy for the array.
Kirk to Enterprise. Sulu, can you read me?
Sulu here, Captain. How can I help you?
The Enterprise should broadcast a low-level microwave beam at the coordinates I am sending.
We have them, Mr. Spock. Get ready. Stand away from the blast area.
Stand by, ready for weapons position.
Sending microwaves now.
Temperature near the power coupling is rising rapidly. I estimate a below-ground temperature of 345 degrees Kelvin is required to reactivate the array. It is at 320, 330, 335, 340, 345, 350.
Shut off the beam, Mr. Sulu.
Affirmative, Captain.
The array is now drawing power. We were successful. Captain, parameters of this sensor have been preset. I suggest we do not change them. Captain, these controls do not seem to be functioning properly. Captain, the controls indicate the device is aligned at an angle approximately 35 degrees above the horizon. There appears to be some sort of anomaly in the control program that has misaligned the controls, but my tricorder is unable to determine it. Without a method of determining the proper angle, I am afraid I cannot realign the dish.
Scotty, I need a calculation from the main computer.
While I know the computers on the Enterprise aren't quite as good as her engines, I think she'll manage.
I am sending the problem.
Ugh, that was too easy, Mr. Spock. The angle is 32.5 degrees.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
So is there anything else you need, Captain?
Not now, Scotty. Kirk out.
I am now attempting to realign the device to 32.5 degrees. It should now be correctly aligned.
Thank you, Captain, for your aid in constituting my people and in the unexpected necessary realignment of our communications array. You have performed admirably. Of the 16 stations reporting at this point, there have been 50% fatalities, 30% other failures, and only 20% successes. One group got points for style.
Points for style? Is this some sort of game? Not another alien race with a superiority. Your appreciation is welcome, but many questions remain unanswered. Who are you?
I am Sississa, a projection of a synthesis of Ozra and Visner. Clearly you know that the primitive life forms you have been dealing with are incapable of creating that in which you now stand. You will also note that the more demonic of the creatures displayed a passivity you did not expect, while the morally pure creature was aggressive and bloodthirsty.
The contradictions were noted and duly dealt with. I take it you were testing us on our ability to deal with disparate and contradictory inputs.
Yes, your reasoning ability was being tested, as well as your ability to adapt to new ideas when they conflict with deeply held beliefs and cultural customs. You passed quite admirably. The Brassica were impressed.
I'm not clear on who the Brassica are.
Captain, from this site, I can deduce various things about the Brassica. They are taller and more slender than we are. They are possessed of 3 fingers and a thumb on each hand. I suppose bilateral symmetry, and I know they possess greater visual acuity than humans. They visited this place well before humans had left the Cro-Magnon stage of development. And I note they have avoided detection by us, and presumably every other race in the universe, before they decided to send out signals to bring us to their bases.
Thank you, Mr. Spock.
And more you shall know as you continue on the quest. I wish you luck.
Kirk to Enterprise. Scotty, 4 to beam up.
Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end.
In this case, Bones, a new beginning. We were the midwives for the rebirth of a life form. 2 halves that have been made whole again. That's the way it was meant to be.
And let us hope that this is the end of Ensign John's prejudices.
We can all learn to stop judging people by appearances. Ensign Johns might have done well to remember the biblical representation of Lucifer, appearing in the guise of an angel of light.
You can never trust anybody, and people who look like pointy-eared hobgoblins are definitely at the bottom of the list.
It appears that Dr. McCoy did not learn the lesson of this mission either. Unfortunate, but not unexpected.
Fortunately, the Alphans and the Omegans learned philosophy and personal belief are not as easily divorced from logic as some would believe. We humans attain our greatest fulfillment when both of them are united.
Really, Captain?
Really? But I've had enough philosophy for one day. I'd rather worry about these Brassica and their cosmic quest.
Well, with me aboard, we're sure to get points for style.
Many questions remain unanswered, Captain.
And there's only one way to answer them.
Captain, message from Starfleet.
Bring it up, Lieutenant.
I reviewed your report from your recent assignment, Captain, and have a few comments. Well done, Kirk. Keep up the good work. I must say, however, your performance is not what we've come to expect from James T. Kirk. I guess we all have our off days, Captain. Kane out.
Ahead, Mr. Sulu. Warp Factor 5.
Leaving orbit. Increasing to Warp Factor 5.
Spock, where do you think we should start looking for this? Brassica?
Logic suggests that they will present us with opportunities to come to them.
Captain, a message from Starfleet.
On screen.
Captain, the USS Regulus has been forced to cancel its survey mission to the Antares Rift. We've decided to redirect the Enterprise to that mission. The USS Hood will take over for your current assignment.
Of course, the Antares Rift has a rather dangerous reputation.
Nothing the Enterprise can't handle. But be careful. Starfleet out.
The Antares Rift. It should be a most interesting assignment.
How so, Spock?
There have been several attempts to chart it. All expeditions into the Rift vanished without a trace.
But those expeditions were years ago. Our starships are far more capable than they were during the time of those attempts.
Captain, a 10-year-old child is far more capable than a 3-year-old child. But there are many problems that neither child can solve.
Captain's log, stardate 6257.6. We have entered the Antares Rift and found spatial disruptions in the rift that make using warp engines extremely dangerous. Repairs are almost complete on the minor damage we suffered upon entry into the rift. We are continuing our survey using impulse engines.
My poor babies. Warp engines were meant to be used, Captain.
Communications are back online, Captain.
Deflectors at 93% power and increasing.
Captain, undoubtedly that phenomenon would explain many of the strange disappearances in this sector. Still, with our warp engines deactivated, our computers indicate we will be safe.
Communications are out again, Captain. Is anyone hurt?
If he was human, Mr. Spock's pride might be...
Captain, sensors failed to indicate anything unusual prior to the explosion. I would speculate that it was caused by an extremely unusual rift in the space-time continuum, a place where radically different physical laws apply.
And since it was different space-time, our sensors weren't programmed to detect it.
And it could happen again at any time without warning.
Captain, I believe I may be able to adjust the sensors to detect these spatial rifts and pilot the Enterprise to avoid them. However, the sensors are too heavily damaged here. I will need to get to auxiliary control as soon as possible if I am to reroute the necessary systems.
Mr. Spock, the bulkheads were breached just outside of the bridge. No one's going to be able to leave the bridge for at least an hour unless they're transported out.
Captain, the library computer is online. Apparently, its circuits were shielded from the explosion. Captain, we have lost probe control. We might regain it from auxiliary control.
Any ideas, Lieutenant?
I was barely able to reroute the necessary connections last time, Captain. Communications are completely useless now. We may be able to enter codes into the library computer and instruct others to send messages to us.
Status, Mr. Chekhov.
Captain, navigation is not responding. The circuits are as lifeless as a Stalinist.
Status, Mr. Sulu.
Helm is not responding, Captain. The controls are completely dead.
Scotty, what's our status?
Very bad, Captain. Whatever hit the Enterprise hit us right in our own neighborhood. The hull is breached 6 meters from the bridge. Beyond that, the instruments are useless. I can't read or send anything through these controls. We'll need a starbase to make this bridge functional again.
Scotty, how about auxiliary control?
Captain, I cannot determine the status of anything beyond the place where the rupture occurred. The rest of the ship could be dead as far as we know.
Ideas, Mr. Walker?
I'm a security guard, sir, not an idea man. Still, if we could send out probes to detect these rifts, we might get a better idea on whether they're moving or not, and whether we should stop and make repairs, or keep moving.
It's stuck. We're not getting out of here that way.
Captain, I have managed to program a message into the library computer. The first time a person accesses the computer, they will read our distress signal. Hopefully, they can code a reply into the computer, which we can access. Captain, the transporters are operational. I request permission to be transported, so I can begin the adjustments to sensors as soon as possible.
Go ahead, Spock. No, Spock. Go ahead, Spock. Spock!
I can take care of that, Captain. I'm patching your log into the computer. You should have voice messages.
Captain, we've managed to jury-rig an evacuation tube through the bridge turbo lift. We should be able to keep it stable long enough for you to be evacuated.
Captain's log. After equipping ourselves with tricorders and phasers, we are now searching for a way to find Spock and return him to us. I've determined that the best place to start
Captain, it's a very good thing we took the warp engines offline.
How bad is it, Scotty?
That explosion was 42% stronger than the one that struck near the bridge. Our left warp nacelle is crippled, Captain.
I hope it's not a trend. Keep me posted, Mr. Scott. Kirk out.
Save new, replace previous.
Our highest priority is control of the sensors. We must find Spock.
I'll handle it, Captain. Remember, I was a physicist when I first joined the Enterprise.
Ah! Captain, look! Captain, what happened?
It appears our alien friend likes its privacy. Captain, there's some sort of barriers on the walls and the doors. Our sensors cannot penetrate it. A single life form, non-terrestrial, carbon-based. It doesn't seem to be doing anything to our controls. In fact, it's not doing much of anything. Captain, I'm getting a sensor reading on the alien. I'm sure Dr. McCoy will find this data very interesting.
Well, Jim, I leave you alone for 5 minutes and look at the mess you've made. Jim, what is going on out there?
Spock is gone, Bones. He was transporting off the bridge, and then he vanished, and then this alien appeared in auxiliary control.
An alien kidnapped Spock? Why?
I don't know. We managed to get a medical scan.
Jim, this says our invaders are Vaurians.
Vaurians? But they're extinct. They died out at the time that Cochrane invented the warp drive. They were slaughtered in the Three Systems War.
Jim, I know my history, but I also know my anatomy. The alien in auxiliary control is a Vaurian. There's only one strange thing.
What's that?
This creature isn't capable of doing some of the things that you described. It's an ordinary Vaurian. No special organs, no unusual brain patterns, nothing that traditionally suggests superhuman feats.
Can you neutralize it, Bones?
Actually, it's a female. And yes, I know of something that can incapacitate it without harming it. A gas mixture. You'll have to pump large quantities into auxiliary control for it to be effective, but it should work almost immediately. Here's the gas, Jim. Be careful with it. There hasn't been a Vaurian in 150 years.
Captain, there has been an explosion near the shuttle bay. I'm fine. There has been no significant damage.
Any luck communicating with Starfleet Command?
I have made contact with the light cruiser USS Jefferson, sir. It will reach the edge of Antares Rift in 16 hours. The Rift is playing havoc with communications.
Thank you, Lieutenant Kirkout.
Captain, I got bad news for you. This rift is affecting the hull of the ship. Our hull integrity is dropping fast.
How bad is it, Scotty?
It's at 92% and dropping rapidly. According to our system specs, if it drops below 63%...
Put as much powers as you can to the shields. Use them to support our hull integrity. Divert as much power as you can to the center. Evacuate all people from the outer decks. Divert power from life support on those decks evenly to shields and sensors.
Captain, that'll only add about 2% to the shields and sensors.
Do it, Mr. Scott.
Aye, Captain. Captain, is it too late to put in a request for an early retirement?
Scotty, if we hit any more of these random detonations, it'll be mandatory retirement for all of us.
Actually, Captain, I was hoping for a better pension. But, Captain, the controls are working just fine. The first rule of an engineer, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But, Captain...
Captain, where would you like to be transported?
Send us to sickbay, Mr. Kyle. Send us to engineering, Mr. Kyle. Send us to auxiliary control, Mr. Kyle. We'll transport later, Mr. Kyle. Send us to sickbay. We'll transport later.
Impulse engine fuel control systems. This system monitors fuel usage in the impulse engines. Impulse engine deflector control grid. This system prevents the Enterprise from being pulverized at near light speed by micrometeorites. Life support control systems. This monitors and controls the ship's life support.
Not in there, Captain. Put the gas in the life support pump, then use the controls. Captain, I may only be chief engineer, but I do not see what benefits that an alien nerve gas can have on our impulse controls.
This device stores special chemicals that are pumped into the ship's atmosphere when needed and is operated by the life support system.
I wish Dr. McCoy had given me the specs on that gas injection system. It looks like a rather clumsy fit.
I'll do it, Scotty.
You'd think that Dr. McCoy would have some respect for engineering.
Let's see how our alien friend likes Dr. McCoy's medicine.
Probably as much as we do, Hikaru.
Mr. Kyle, can you transport me to auxiliary control?
Aye, sir. But I have to remind you how dangerous intership transporting can be. We've really been pushing our luck today.
I'm aware of that, Mr. Kyle, but we have to take the risk.
Look, something's happening. Captain, the aliens have not touched the helm. All systems look like they'll respond normally. These readings look normal to me. This looks like a normal course, right, Pavel?
Normal. It's an excellent course. The same one I entered before the alien came on board the ship.
That's odd. All systems look normal. The aliens haven't touched navigation. What's going on?
Everything seems to be working. Library computer, external sensors.
Mr. Sulu, see if you can find where the Vurian went. Maybe that will lead us to Spock.
Captain, I'm detecting the Vurian. She seems to have vanished through a rift in space. I have the coordinates of her last known location.
Mr. Kyle, you have the coordinates where the alien teleported?
Captain, you're asking me to transport you into another dimension. I may not be able to lock onto you there.
I'm aware of the risk, Mr. Kyle. You have your orders.
Aye, sir.
Energize. Captain's personal log. I have transported to many strange places in my day, but beaming into an alien dimension is something entirely unique. Only the extreme risk to my ship and my friend Spock would cause me to take such a drastic risk.
This doesn't look like a nice place to visit.
There's the Vurian. I don't see Spock.
He's got to be around here somewhere.
Save, replace.
Captain, this stone has a cell structure. It must be organic. It also has a wave signature indicative of some sort of psionic abilities.
What are we doing here? Why did we come here?
Captain?
There's no way back. We'll never find Spock. We're trapped here forever, and it's all my fault. I knew the Antares Rift was dangerous. I should never have let the ship go in there.
Captain?
But let's find Spock.
No effect.
Why are you reaching for your phaser, Mr. Sulu?
Captain.
Walker, I saw you sneaking up on me.
Sir.
You're all against me. You've gotten rid of Spock, now me. Who's next, Scotty, Uhura? Or are they part of this too?
Captain, snap out of it.
Something is definitely wrong. Such intense emotions. Don't worry, Mr. Walker, I'll protect you.
Sir?
Sulu, Checo. You know, I may never have told you this before, but I care for you all more than I can tell. Sulu, with your dedication, your unwavering sense of responsibility...
Captain, are you talking about me?
Checo, I've always been impressed by your enthusiasm. All those wonderful Russian jokes, your humanity.
Captain?
And you, Mr. Walker, with your rugged determination. I'll bet you had more girlfriends than anyone in the history of the Academy.
Actually, sir, I'm... celibate.
What was I just saying?
No effect.
This place reminds me of Deneva. I lost my brother there. He was a few years younger than I was, and there were times when he annoyed me.
Captain?
And now he's gone. Gone. I'll never see him again, never tell him... tell him...
Captain, snap out of it.
This place must be getting to me. I heard that, Mr. Sulu.
I didn't say anything.
You've always been saying things behind my back. You've always said I don't have enough discipline, that I don't respect my crew. You're insubordinate, Mr. Sulu.
Get hold of yourself, Captain.
What on earth was I saying? I'm sorry, Mr. Sulu, that was not...
Captain, I think we better get out of here as soon as possible.
Greetings, Lord Kirk. I am Eminata. I regret the discomfort that I put you through on your ship. I wish only to preserve my joy by serving the Savant.
Are you willing to help me, Eminata? Where's Spock? How did you come to be here? What were you doing on my ship? Are you willing to help me?
Possibly. I am aware of your ship's distress. I can bring it to the attention of the Savant. It may help.
Actually, I was thinking more about what is the Savant. I would appreciate the Savant being in... Actually, I was thinking more about what is the Savant.
A being found that the physical form impaired his emotions, and so he discarded it as a lord discards his raiment. An entity of great benevolence and joy. Through my psionic talents, we are linked in ecstasy eternal.
Where is this Savant?
Everywhere. When one is an entity, one transcends the limitations of space, time, and dimension. But the Savant prefers to center its thoughts at the fountainhead, which is quite close.
Spock, what have they done to you?
Fascinating. Emotional intensity of a previously unknown level. Our link with the Savant acts as an amplifier. The more minds in union with him, the greater the level of emotion. And happiness is a powerful emotion.
Spock, do you want this?
Happiness is a human desire, Captain. I am a Vulcan. I want to be free of emotions. This is the antithesis of my desires.
Spock!
I shall try to tell you what I know. The emotions make it difficult to communicate. The creature that has done this is called the Savant. A being of great power that has transformed itself into a creature of living emotion. It can form a link with any creature with psionic abilities, including Vulcans. It taps into latent emotions and amplifies them, using them to increase its emotional stability.
What happens if it gets cut off from you on the Vurium?
It would be alone, but could cope. We enhance its enjoyment, but we are not essential to its survival. We're like a backup system. It relies on us for emotional support, but it could exist without us. I am summoning the savant. It may be in your best interest to communicate with it, Captain. I recommend you negotiate with Savant to escape this place. I am expendable.
Expendable? Spock, I see that these emotions have given you a sense of humor. If we can find a weakness, we might be able to take you with us. What can you tell us, Spock? Spock, can you negotiate with the Savant on our behalf? Spock, we found some very strange stones. What are they?
This entire pocket dimension is organic and psionic. In order to maintain the Savant's life force, negative emotions that are suppressed might be absorbed in mineral-like pockets beneath the surface of this dimension. Captain, I recommend you negotiate with Savant to escape this place.
Expendable? If we can find a weakness, we might be able to take you with us. Spock, can you negotiate with the Savant on our behalf? Spock, we found some very strange stuff. Expendable? If we can find a weakness, we might be able to take you with us.
Its reliance on emotion is its main weakness. It is a creature of intense needs. And despite having millions of years of joy, it still retains a subconscious fear of losing its joy, of experiencing negative emotions. Captain.
Expendable? If we can find... Spock, can you negotiate with the Savant on our behalf?
It refuses to deal with issues of logic and free will. It is not a violent creature, but is extremely fixated on its goals and believes what it does is morally justified. I understand, Mr. Chekhov. It is quite logical.
I am the Savant. I wish you and all entities nothing but joy.
Who are you? Why do you ensnare... Release Spock at once and I'll... Who are you?
Once, eons ago, I was akin to you, a creature of flesh and pain. But I released myself from these bonds and became an entity of pure emotion. And I came to this place to find a shelter from the cares of the universe.
I'll get them, Captain. I've put them in the pouch we found. Boy, am I getting an odd feeling from these stones.
You misunderstand me. It is not my will to bring harm to any creature. I have taken two creatures that are without the most important thing in existence, joy, and given it to them in infinite variety and abundance. The Vurian was filled with despair at the death of her race. She was overwhelmed by sorrow and grief. I have healed her of these afflictions forever. As for the Vulcan, he has been conditioned to deny his emotions. I am bringing him in contact with a part of himself that will enhance his life. is a gift of love.
You have no right to inflict emotions on any being, regardless of how positive you may think them to be, without their consent. Get a life. You can't just sit around feeling happy for eternity. Love? Spock doesn't want your gift. He doesn't need your gift. Release him and let us return to our ship. You have no right to inflict emotions on any being, regardless of how positive you may think them to be, without their consent.
I give them an eternity of joy. Is that not every creature's desire? How can granting a subliminal desire be beyond my rights?
That is the most arrogant piece of presumption I have ever heard. An eternity of joy. And I suppose you derive no benefits from the people you hold prisoner? Do you honestly believe that because what you do may benefit them, that the ends justify the means?
Yes, Captain. For such a great good as that which I provide, the ends do justify the means. I will send you back to your own ship and give you safe passage through the Antares Rift if you wish.
Save new, replace previous game.
You disturb my rest. Fortunately, I am not alone in bliss. Do not use such a tactic again on me. I warn you. What is this? What am I feeling? What have you done?
What's the matter, Savant? Not feeling those good vibrations? Life isn't all happiness and joy. It's time you experienced a reality check. Is that sadness you're feeling, Savant? It couldn't be that those inferior humans have outwitted your great wit. What's the matter, Savant? Not feeling those good vibrations?
Please, have mercy. I would rather die than experience such sorrow.
If you will listen to reason, I will release you. Free Spock and You really are a crybaby. Go ahead and bawl your head off. If you will listen to reason, I will release you. Free Spock and return us to our ship. If you will listen to reason, I will release you.
I do not wish to reward violence, Captain.
Taking Spock against his will is an act of violence too, Savant. No entity, no matter how wise, can impose eternity on another creature. Even the most authoritarian gods of myth never strip their subjects of their free will.
I remain unconvinced, Captain. But I am too aggrieved to argue. You and your scientist will be returned to your craft. Live long and prosper, James Kirk. Live well in your universe. And I shall try to live well in mine.
Captain's log. We are out of the Antares Rift and are on our way to Starbase 8, where the Enterprise has extensive repairs scheduled. All crew members, including First Officer Spock, are safely aboard.
So, Spock, you mean you had an eternity of pure enjoyment and you gave it up?
Affirmative, Doctor.
That has to be the most illogical thing I've ever heard. Humans spend their entire lifetime dreaming of an eternity of pleasure.
As do animals in the field. Perhaps humans are meant to be better than that. Perhaps we should dream of greatness, not simple gratification.
Greatness is a term subject to individual interpretation, Captain. The savant viewed the pursuit of greatness as useless, because all great deeds and accomplishments are destined to be forgotten in cosmic terms.
A cosmic being thinks in cosmic terms, Spock. But somehow that philosophy overlooks a lot of life's little pleasures. There's just one thing that bothers me about the whole thing.
Really, Doctor?
Spock finally got to enjoy himself, and I wasn't there to see it. Now that's something worth remembering.
Message from Starfleet Command.
On screen.
I reviewed your report from your recent assignment, Captain, and have a few comments. The top brass at Starfleet are impressed with the results of your recent performance. Outstanding work, Jim. Keep up the good work. Kane out.
How long until we reach Nova Atar, Ensign?
About 23 hours, Captain.
22 hours, 53 minutes, and 17 seconds, to be precise.
Spock, there's no need to be precise. We're going on shore leave. Rest, relaxation, no calls from Starfleet.
Captain, we have a message coming in from Admiral Richards at Starfleet.
On screen, Lieutenant.
Hello, Jim. I know you're going on shortly, but
What is it, Chris?
since you're going there anyway, and it's only a small favor,
Favor?
I don't want to inconvenience you, but
Fine, you have it. What would you like me to do?
we recently discovered that one of the exhibits in the Smithsonian Annex at Nova Atar is of great historical significance to the Serenzi, an influential family from planet Lakian. The museum is going to have a small ceremony to return the item. The Federation planned to send a representative, but, well, she couldn't make it. Since you'll be in the neighborhood, well, no dress uniforms. All you have to do is smile and shake hands.
Smile, shake hands. It would be my pleasure, Admiral. My chief engineer had already promised to show me around. We'll be there.
Thanks, Jim. I owe you one. Check your data files for details. Oh, one more thing, Jim. Due to the security concerns, you won't be allowed to bring any electronic equipment with you. Richard's out.
Now, I was saying...
Captain, do we really have to stand around and listen to speeches from a bunch of politicians?
It won't be all bad, Scotty. The curator's a major cognac producer, and he asked us to show up early to thank us for our support.
Captain, it'd be rude to keep a man like the curator waiting, what with an important diplomatic function to prepare for.
We've arrived at Nova Atar, Captain.
Bring us into standard orbit, Mr. Sewell.
Aye, Captain.
Save new game. Replace previous.
Mr. Scott, Mr. Chekhov, come with me. Mr. Spock, you have the con.
Captain Kirk, good to meet you. I am Boris Brezhnev, curator of the museum. Everyone is buzzing about visitors from the Enterprise. A real feather in my cap.
The pleasure is ours, sir. This is my chief engineer, Mr. Scott, and Ensign Chekhov, our navigator.
Most pleased to meet you both. Chekhov, a fine name. I'm certain you will be interested in sampling the Kazakhstani cognac, distilled and blended by my family. In fact, I will later show you my most prized possession, a bottle of our finest vintage, aged 40 years from our very first press.
But isn't cognac French?
Originally, Mr. Scott. But before my ancestors came to settle this planet, they went to Cognac and purchased cuttings, brought them here, and made enhancements. You could say we reinvented Cognac. I do not wish to be rude, but you gentlemen are a bit early, and I must see to making certain the cleaning crews are finished working. Please, feel free to look about a bit. I will page you later, and maybe you will join me in a small toast before the ceremonies. Yes?
It would be our pleasure, curator.
I told you we invented it.
Maybe we were a little hard on you, laddie.
Never doubted you for a second, Mr. Chekhov. Now let's take advantage of this time and look around.
I'm sorry, this door is for museum personnel only. Have a nice day.
Captain Kirk and party, please report to the curator's office, please. Captain Kirk and party, please report to the curator's office.
I hope you enjoyed your tour, gentlemen. Please join me. Would you mind if the first toast with the Kazakhstanian was to the Enterprise?
Curator, why isn't that Brezhnev cognac?
For heaven's sakes, Chekhov, don't interrupt a man on the verge of toasting the best ship in the fleet with the finest cognac on this side of the galaxy.
My apologies.
Questions later, then. The toast. Here's to the Starship Enterprise. What could this be?
A conspiracy, if you ask me, Captain.
Let me pull this up on screen. They've destroyed my camera. Well, let's see how they deal with our other security systems.
Ignoring the slight ozone odor, the curator looks peacefully asleep.
Security lockdown in effect. Please enter release code. Incorrect access code. Access denied.
Not much of a trap, really. Fixed it up with a wee change of wiring. Captain, they've got a wee button under here to let the curator open the door without getting up. Captain, I don't know what we could possibly use these for.
This is a very expensive silver tray. The decanter is nearly full.
I feel rather bad about this, Captain.
I do too, Scotty, but it's always surprising what you need in an emergency.
No effect. No effect.
I wonder what this is for.
The note on the paper reads, Bresnia, VVSOP 2123. The curator's office is an interesting mix of the old and new. An old suit of armor, but with a strong framework added inside to avoid any accidents. It's holding a large metal lance in its right gauntlet. The large lance shows some wear.
Captain, what will we do when we get to the other room and the door closes?
No, I don't think that's... No, I don't...
An old suit of armor, but with a strong framework added to avoid any accidents.
Mr. Chekhov, see if you can wedge that knight under the door.
Yes, Captain.
There, that should hold the door open.
I've looked this beastie over, and the only things we might be able to use are the capacitors. I've taken them out. They'll soak up a wee bit of power before releasing it. Well, it's not like anyone's likely to be using this monstrosity soon, so I pulled out the only things we might be able to use. It's not much, only some heat-resistant wiring and a cable. It's working fine. Just doesn't have anything to control right now. This machine is putting out a fair amount of power.
The capacitor should charge very quickly. The capacitor should charge very quickly.
Security lockdown is in effect. Please enter access code. Incorrect access code.
The note on the paper reads, Bresnia, VVSOP 2123.
Security lockdown is in effect. Please enter access code. Security lock deactivated.
This is a bizarre piece of machinery. I wonder what it was designed for. Everything on this pod's too tight. I need the proper tools. I was able to get one loose access panel, but I'm not sure what we can do with it. Most of this is just too massive to move around, but we've got some nice magnetic clamps here.
Security lockdown is in effect. Please enter access code. Authorization code correct. Warning: malfunction in security authorization. Access denied.
It appears that the terrorists do not want any visitors.
An old-style phaser cannon capacitor. It is currently uncharged. Lights cascade continually above the surface of this device. Plaques on each side read, "The Vandecourt Aurora generator was donated to this museum by Sir William Loudon."
Captain, when you were in school, did you ever make a tennis ball cannon?
Of course, Mr. Scott. It's a dormitory tradition. Empty cans, tape, and a little propellant. If I remember my formula. But what's that got to do with our situation?
I was standing here looking at the cannon and thought maybe we could use the same idea to get through that wee door.
We're going to knock down the door with a tennis ball?
I'm sure Scotty had something else in mind. You did, didn't you, Mr. Scott?
Aye, Captain. In an engineering dorm, that's for freshmen only. As you move along, you get into bigger and better versions.
We'll use a big tennis ball?
No, laddie. I was thinking, since we cannot fix the phaser here, maybe we could build some sort of mass driver. The capacitors on the cannon can discharge a lot of power in a short burst.
Oh, I remember. Using magnetic fields to propel an object faster and faster.
Don't say it, laddie. You didn't invent them.
Of course not. I was going to say we will need an iron tennis ball.
This is not exactly my area.
This is a bizarre piece of machinery. I wonder what it was designed for. I wish we could take this one, Captain. But unfortunately, there's little else I can do with it now. Unless we can figure out a way to roll the whole monstrosity out of here, I don't think there's much else we can do with it, Captain.
Normal heat-resistant wires. The plaque reads, the Niven, non-integrated Vulcan electronumerator, was one of the earliest versions of a Vulcan computer. Some of the components were found to only function correctly at high temperatures. The Klingon console looks operational, but without a ship attached, it's hard to tell. Written on the plaque, this is a control console from a Klingon warbird, the Klarg.
Actually, Captain, I don't think these will do. They'd survive firing the beastie, but they don't carry enough current for what we're likely to need.
I'm sure we could find something that would work in this place.
No, I don't think... No, I don't think...
You get no response. A small conference table and chairs.
There's little else we can do with this, Captain. We'll need to start by setting up a magnetic field. I think we just about salvaged all we can from this system.
Chekhov takes the capacitor off of the Aurora generator. Chekhov takes the capacitor off of the Aurora generator. The plaque reads, a failed experiment in Habis robotics. The Green Mark 6 was one of those ideas where the original concept might have been sound.
If we could make it run, maybe we could use it to force the door open.
Interesting idea, Mr. Chekhov. We'll have to keep it in mind.
Oh, jeez.
That has to be one of the most useless robots I've ever seen.
Badly designed, Captain.
It's not going to help us, is it?
Only in a dance contest, Mr. Chekhov.
You take the capacitor out of the robot.
This is not exactly...
There's no way anyone could fix this piece of junk, no matter how much time was available. But I did get some wires that may be helpful.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
capacitor should charge very quickly.
That won't do us much good until we get the parts in position. We'll still have to wire them up, Captain. That's going to be the real job. Captain, I'll need a little help positioning the clamps correctly while wiring them. Captain, push harder. I'll need these tighter to get more power.
I'm giving it all I got, Scotty.
One projectile ready to go, Captain. There's little else we can do with this, Captain.
A standard 350 micron interface cable.
We are hooked up here, Captain.
Thank you, Captain. This'll be just like old times.
School must miss you dearly, Mr. Scott.
Checkoff takes the capacitor off of the Aurora generator. Checkoff takes the capacitor off of the Aurora generator. No effect.
We made a bit of a mess here, didn't we?
The gas canister is a bit beat up from the fall, but still functional.
The curator mentioned these were in each room.
We could open the door and spray it on the terrorists.
If it's fast enough to stop them from using their phasers, it'll stop us too.
And they'd get a warning if the door started to open. Time enough to put the hostages in jeopardy.
I don't think McCoy would like this transporter, Captain. Even I would not want to use this one.
You? Not use a piece of equipment? Why not, Mr. Scott?
This little beastie put out a wee bit of energy discharge during transport. You've heard of the Heisenberg uncertainty principle.
Of course, Mr. Scott.
Well, this is the Mulligan certainty field, guaranteed to do bad things to you even Dr. McCoy cannot fix. You can block the radiation, but she's not something I'd want to play with unless I absolutely had to. You'd have to repair the wires anyway. And the power unit's been pulled out too. You think Uhura would like it if we swapped this one for hers?
Scotty, I never took you for having a death wish.
Actually, Captain, this one's not in bad shape. They took the transmitting gear and she's got no power, but other than that, she's in fine condition. They run a ship-shaped museum here.
Security lockdown is in effect. Please enter access code.
The access panel is stuck, Captain. I don't think any of us are strong enough to pull it free. This is an odd beastie, Captain. I'm not even sure how they powered this thing. It'd take days to begin to understand it.
You, Scotty?
I'm only human, Captain. We can't have it do anything until we get it running.
What? Okay, what? What? Oh, Jesus, dog. What do you want? What? Okay, alright, settle down, Easy, easy. Hold on. You're stuck. Alright.
There's only a wee bit of juice in this capacitor, but I think it'll be enough to power up the robot. It's a tight squeeze, Captain. I don't think we'll be able to get it back out once it's in. Should I go ahead and do it?
We could use the help, Mr. Scott. Energize the robot. I should get Mr. Scott to look at this.
Barney, open the pod bay door. I knew it. They forgot to take out the fuel cell. That fusion reactor always scares people enough that they forget the backup cell. It's dry now. You'd need to wet this beauty down and get a catalyst in her. Better than brandies? More than Stums? Look out, fuel cell. Here she comes. I hate to see a sweet liquid used for something other than tasting, but at least it'll work a fair bit in here.
A protective panel salvaged from an escape pod. Normal heat-resistant wires.
It's a good thing to build in so much flexibility. The silver isn't a bad catalyst and will act as a contact too.
No, I don't think that's... No, I don't think that...
All hooked up and charging, Captain.
An old-style phaser cannon capacitor. It is currently uncharged.
All ready to go, Captain.
You remove the silver tray.
Save new game. Replace pre...
It will hit, Captain, but why are we doing this?
No, I don't think that's...
No change, Captain. She's still short power and some sort of transmitter. I'm sure I could do something with the tray in there, Captain. But why bother?
No, I don't think that's necessary. I don't know how this works, but looking at it reminds me of the time when I was a boy working on my first electronics project. I built one of those old crystal radios. Maybe this computer somehow projects its answers into your mind.
It may be just looking at the crystals made you remember that, Captain.
It's possible. Are you now practicing psychology, Mr. Scott?
Oh, no, Captain. I'm just a simple country engineer.
It probably wouldn't hurt anything to take one crystal. It's just a display, after all. This one looks good. It's been a while, but I think that will work.
I rigged up an isolated piece of frame in there as one conducting plate and the tray as the other. It's not the best solution, but it's the best I can do here.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
All hooked in, Captain.
Save new. Replace...
Well, let's see how well this works. Kirk to Enterprise. Kirk to Enterprise. Enterprise, come in.
Who is this?
This is Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise.
Well, Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise, why don't you take your Enterprise and go away? We don't want any Federation interference.
Who am I talking to? Why don't you and I discuss this? Who am I talking to?
My name is Lucas. I'm a member of the Lockean family, Onakan.
Whoever you are, call for help. There are terrorists in the museum. I've never heard of the Onakan family. Whoever you are, call for... I've never heard of the Onakan family.
It's no surprise you haven't heard of us, even though we're one of the largest and oldest families on Lockean. Just shows how much the Federation believes the lies the Saransi pass along.
The Saransi are your enemies? I find it unlikely the Federation will take sides. Of course the Federation backs the Saransi. You don't see them taking hostages, and the Saransi are your enemies?
Our bitterest enemies for centuries, and you're backing them.
I find it unlikely the Federation will take... Of course the Federation backs the Saransi. I find it unlikely the Federation will take sides.
If the Federation isn't backing the Saransi, how do you explain a ceremony giving the Saransi the Quelke? Obviously, the Federation believes their lies.
The Kelke? You mean the probe?
It is more than just a probe to us. The Quelke discovered Lockean generations ago. The entire race owes its existence to the Quelke.
I knew it had great significance. I just didn't know there was anyone else involved. This is when the original planet was on the verge of being destroyed? I thought the Saransi ruled your race. I knew it had great significance. I just didn't know there...
The Saransi presently have control of the communication facilities. They've been restricting access to make their position seem more powerful.
So you feel you have a legitimate claim on the Kelki? Are they illegally restricting communications or just not listening to a renegade group of... So you feel you have a legitimate claim on the Kelki?
We have as much claim to that probe as anyone.
It sounds like you have a legitimate grievance. Does the Saransi also have a right to the Kelki? Then why is the museum handing... It sounds like you have a legitimate grievance.
Don't patronize me. You'd say anything just to stop us. Since you'd really rather talk to the Saransi, why not start practicing what you're going to tell them when they find the Quelke has been taken?
Hello? Hello? He seems to have cut communications. Well, let's see how well this works. Kirk to Enterprise.
Who is this?
This is Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise.
Well, Captain...
Who am I talking to?
My name is...
Whoever you are, call... I've never heard of them.
It's no...
The Saransi are your enemies?
Our bitterest...
I find it unlikely the Federation will take sides.
If the Federation...
The Kelki.
It is more than just...
I knew it had great significance. I just didn't know there was...
The Saransi press...
So you feel you have a legitimate... Are they illegal? So you feel you have a legitimate...
We have as much claim to...
It sounds like you have a legitimate grievance. Does the Saransi also have a right to the Kelki? Then why is the museum handing the Kelki over to the Saransi? Does the Saransi also have a right to the Kelki? Then why is the museum handing the Kelki over to the Saransi?
And we can't let you stop us. This is something that has to be dealt with.
This is your last warning. Release the hostages now, or suffer the consequences. Then this situation should be looked into more closely by the Federation. We're here with the best intentions. You want peace? We want peace. This is your last warning. Then this situation should be looked into more closely by...
Is that an offer?
That's a guarantee. Obviously, I'll have to check with my superiors. That's a guarantee.
Then we have a deal. We will turn off the security override and give ourselves up. And trust the word of Captain Kirk.
Mr. Chekhov, have Dr. McCoy beam down to make sure the curator and guards are all right. Mr. Scott, lower the museum's shields and have a security team beamed aboard. Captain's log supplement. The terrorists had already turned off the security override. After putting the 3 Onicons in custody, it was decided that the probe would not be returned to the Saransi. Federation mediators will visit Lakian to assist in the negotiations on the fate of this artifact. The fact that they gave up voluntarily when they could have possibly escaped and injured no one certainly made points for the Onicon's claim. Curator Brezhnev was treated by Dr. McCoy and is in good health. Commendations are in order for Scott and Chekhov for meritorious service. Lieutenant Uhura, send a message to Admiral Richards. Tell him he owes me more than he thinks he does.
Aye, sir. I have a feeling he's not going to be surprised.
I'm afraid I'm going to remember this mission with a great deal of sadness, Captain.
Why is that, Mr. Scott?
It was such a fine cognac, Captain. It was just waiting for us, and now it's gone forever. Such a waste. You always remember the one that got away.
Sure, Scott.
Captain, message incoming from Starfleet.
I see they got our report. On screen.
I reviewed your report from your recent assignment, Captain, and have a few comments. I am very pleased with your performance. It was a perfect mission, Jim. Your reputation as Starfleet's best starship captain is secure. Kane out.
Captain's log, stardate 6169.3. While delivering supplies to outposts near Klingon and Romulan space, we received a distress signal from the Romulan neutral zone.
On screen, Captain.
This is Sub-Commander Guyon of the Warbird Infinitus. We are under attack. Assist us, please.
Transmission jammed at the source, sir. The transmission originated on the Romulan side of the neutral zone.
Captain, this could be a setup. The Romulans might be trying to lure us into a treaty violation.
We can't interfere in Romulan business. Take us to our set course, warp factor 8, I'm not going to ignore a distress call, even if it is a Romulan. We can't interfere in Romulan business. Take us to our next mission. This day is not going well.
Captain, we have an emergency message from Starfleet, Code 1.
That's a planetary catastrophe.
On screen.
Captain, a very large alien ship is about to land on the planet Atibus in the Klingon neutral zone. The aliens stated that they intend to land in the midst of the capital city. Then the ship cut communications with us. Since then, all attempts to contact the alien craft have failed. You are the closest starship to Atibus. We want you to evaluate the situation and safeguard the colonists. We need you to make contact with the aliens.
Atibus is located in the Klingon neutral zone. The Federation won the colonization rights for that planet as per the Organian Peace Treaty. Both Federation and Klingon ships are allowed there.
Our orders are to proceed to the Atibus system.
Alien ship in sensor range. I detect one Klingon battlecruiser on a parallel course.
The Klingon commander is hailing us.
On screen.
Greetings, Enterprise. Welcome to Atibus. I am Captain Kla.
What are you doing here? And I am Captain Kirk. Greetings yourself.
I appreciate your courtesy, Captain. I wish to inform you that we mean the colonists no harm. You have my word that I intend to take no action against them. As you know, this is neutral space. I have as much right to be here as you. If you do not question this right, I believe that we are capable of bridging any misunderstandings that might arise in this delicate situation. I have always admired the Federation's diplomatic abilities. I believe we both have more important matters on our minds. Until later, Captain.
Well, it never rains, but pours. Mr. Sulu, take us into a parallel course with the alien ship.
Aye, aye, Captain.
We're beaming aboard the alien vessel. Have Dr. McCoy meet us in the transporter room. Spock, come with me. Lieutenant Uhura, if its communication system is malfunctioning, then we'll need you.
Yes, Captain.
Mr. Scott, you have the con. I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. What's going on here? Who's in charge?
Nobody's really in charge. Maybe the phase. That's one of the things that makes me so nervous. Nobody's really in charge. I try to take charge of little things like making sure the lights work. I don't like the dark. Are you gonna be in charge now? Maybe you should talk to the phase first.
Phase? What's the phase?
We contemplate our phase. Some of our people think they're the ones who keep everything going. Sometimes they tell us things to do. They remind some people when to eat. Otherwise, they'd forget. I don't forget, but that's because I'm smart. If you want to, you can probably talk to the phase in the oratory. The builders built the oratory. The room there to the south, they built the garden north. If you're hungry or if your head ain't feeling right, there's food and such in the hall. Through there, the west door. The rest hall is through the east door, but you might have to wait for one of the beds. The builders were just so logical. They thought of everything. You can go anywhere.
You know, Jim, I don't think there's much more he can tell us. I can take a tricorder reading on him if you think it's appropriate.
Go away. I'm busy. My table must be kept clean.
His mental activity is very high, but doesn't seem pathologic, Jim. Respiratory activity indicates a high degree of anxiety by comparison with others of his race. Now, that much stress is unhealthy if this is a chronic state.
Interesting. The plant does not register in the tricorder's botany file, but it does suggest similarities to a Shasthar tree on the planet Beta 3.
It's beautiful, Mr. Spock.
I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. Who are you?
Jakesy.
What can you tell me about this place, Jakesy?
The sweet-faced adult shakes his head no.
I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise.
Jakesy.
What can you tell? Can I play with the blocks, Jakesy? Can you smile for me, Jakesy? Is there something you want, Jakesy? What can you tell me about this place? Can I play with the blocks, Jakesy?
The sweet-faced adult shakes his head no.
Methinks you peasants should know your place and speak only when royalty speaks first to you.
Captain, the man in that throne-like chair seems to be staring at me. Perhaps I should try to talk to him.
What a noble-looking woman you are. You have my permission to speak. You stand out remarkably, bearing yourself like a queen. Yet these Carls do not treat you as royalty. Surely you have royal blood flowing in your veins?
Bloodlines do not dictate who we listen to. We weigh a person's worth by their actions. My ancestors ruled in the lands of Kush and Timbuktu. We may speak as peers, you and I.
Oh, I am so glad to find another of royal blood. I'm so tired of sitting here all the time, but whenever I leave, thralls and lesser folk plant their fundaments on the great throne, and that's just not acceptable. I know you'll mind the proprieties and not let anyone else sit on the throne. And now, I'll finally be able to go and get some rest.
An ordinary chair, originally similar to others in the room, except someone has nailed the legs onto a raised platform, increased the height of the back, widened the seat, and glued on broad and blocky arms. It is a grid work over a recessed lighting mechanism. You notice the light fixture flickering. It is a grid work over a recessed lighting mechanism. It is a grid work.
A gridwork of manufactured plastic to diffuse the illumination transmitted from the lighting system in the ceiling.
A normal-looking switch. No effect.
A gridwork of
The light bar connection is faulty, and only the wire is holding it in place.
What an uncomfortable chair.
You manage to untwist a length of wire and a light bar.
Hi there, I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. Who are you?
I'm called Ma. My son is Stan Bob, and I failed him. I feel so badly. I'm a terrible mother.
The woman's eyes brim with tears, and she can't continue the conversation.
The tricorder informs me that the Klingon boarding crew has just beamed into the adjacent room, Captain.
You are Kirk. I am Kla, Captain of the Paul Yar. This is my aide.
These Klingons are so innovative in their introductions.
Shh!
I'm Captain James T. Kirk, commanding the USS Enterprise. These are my crew, Science Officer Spock, Lieutenant Uhura, and Dr. McCoy. What can I do for you, Captain Clark?
You can avoid interfering with me or my man as we look around the ship, the same as you. And with the same air of mutual goodwill, we will avoid interfering with your activities. Unless we have cause to think your actions in some way threaten us or the Empire we represent.
We do not threaten the Klingon Empire, Captain Clark, nor its legitimate representatives.
Then there will be no difficulties between us, will there? We will leave you to your investigations now and carry on our own. You won't mind if we're in the room, will you?
We'd consider it a mark of our mutual respect, Captain, if you don't get in our way and we won't get in yours.
The machine whirs, lights blink, and a pre-packaged container of food is deposited on the tray.
I'm just a simple country doctor, not a magician.
Nothing unusual about that object.
The box of prepared food is light and compact. A large countertop well suited as a workbench with what appears to be mechanized assists and a hookup close at hand. A small data terminal seems to be part of the design.
We are just here to look around, Captain. I'm sure you don't mind.
Would it matter if we did?
Your doctor's discourtesy, though indirect, does no credit to your party, Captain Kirk. I would have expected better when we have done nothing to warrant rudeness.
We need not interfere with one another's activities, I think.
There is nothing on the work console. Proceed with your work. This console is prepared to scan items anytime you are prepared to use it.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Captain, we have just been thoroughly and efficiently scanned.
Please identify yourself. You haven't been in to see me before, have you?
I'm Captain James T. Kirk, commanding the USS Enterprise. These others are my crew. Science Officer Spock, Lieutenant Uhura, and Dr. McCoy. Who are you?
We are the Fays. Did not your parents speak of me?
Captain, note that it identifies itself only erratically in the singular I, and a blend of voices typifies its communication.
Are you suggesting it is a hive mind, Mr. Spock? Or is the voice synthesizer simply programmed for a harmonic chord of voices?
Inconclusive. It may also be that an array of otherwise independent machines have been linked to provide the requisite computing power, although that is an antique and unsophisticated method of achieving this level of intelligence at odds with the overall level of sophistication and evidence. I suggest we pay close attention to both its actions and its words.
Fays, why would our parents have spoken of you?
I am here to care for all of you, Kirk. It is easier for me to care for you when you are younger, but sometimes one's parents are forgetful. We understand. I will care for you now. You will feel better after you eat.
Great. A food-fixating mothering computer.
It could in fact be very much that.
Fays, you're about to land on a planet inhabited by sentience in the middle of a settlement. If you are in control of this vessel, you must stop. You must not land there.
You will feel better after you eat, dear. Run along now, I'm very busy.
There is no response at all. Not even a flicker of attention crosses the person's eyes.
We appreciate appreciate your desire to become one with me, but it is impossible. Despite what you may think, this is no short route to Godhead.
Evidently, this was an electronic device, almost certainly a reader or computer interface. It is severely damaged beyond any repair.
Fragments of what looks like glass glitter sharply, reflecting iridescent gleams like oil floating on water. You succeed in cutting your fingers and bleeding profusely from the many tiny capillaries in your hands.
Oh, jeez.
Hi there, I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. Who are you?
I'm Stan Bob. Did my mom say I could talk to you?
Why, yes, she did. What can you tell us about things going on here? No, not exactly. I don't know that we've seen your mother's. Why, yes, she did. What?
I don't think my mom would want me to talk to you. Please go away and stop bothering me. I don't think I should talk to you.
The elderly alien barely opens his eyes to glance at you.
We were sleeping. The rigors of rulership are severe. Present yourselves if you must, else let me be.
Keep back! I don't recognize you, you strangers! Rackaback, Gormagon, you recognize these people?
No, Tuscan, we sure don't.
Keep them away. Keep them away from me. They'll hurt us. They're out to get us, I tell you. Have I ever been wrong?
No, Tuscan, you kept us safe, and we keep you safe. We won't let him get you.
You people don't want to come any closer. Honest, I don't want to have to hurt any of you. It's just that Tuscan won't like it. I hope you don't mind, but you really have got to stay back.
Protect me. They're after me.
We'll hurt you, so just stay back.
We really don't want to hurt you, you know, but you gotta stay back.
See here, Captain Claw. I told you those Federation scum would be nosing around behind our backs.
The Klingon observers seem interested in remaining to watch what goes on here.
Gormagon is one of the healthier individuals on this ship. Except for emotional stress, probably the result of being bullied by his buddies here. He's reasonably sound in mind and body. If I had to, I'd feel confident about treating him medically.
I listened to my brother Rackaback and to my friend Tuscan. They say we have to protect this room and keep anyone from getting into it. Tuscan's afraid.
Watch what you say, Gormagon. You know I trust you.
He's just afraid, that's all.
I'm more interested in a good fight than in talking.
If you want the bear, you'll have to beat me at this game of chess.
A complex situation. However, check and mate.
How'd you do that?
He cheated you, brother. He must have cheated you.
No, that's a legal move. Here, take the bear. I promised, and I do what I say.
I think it's a dumb game. That's what I think of this game. I think it's a dumb game. That's what I think of this game.
Jim, he has fairly extensive brain damage and may be causing paranoid delusions. It's also resulting in increased levels of hostility. His adrenaline levels run quite high, and there's been organ damage from the extreme stress.
He gathers together the blocks and gives them out to you.
You get blocks now?
He smiles broadly as you take the blocks.
This 60-liter capacity square metal keg is constructed of good quality steel with non-reactive steel alloy lining. Inside is a nutrient-rich liquid ideal for the growth and support of certain hydroponically grown plants. Nothing unusual.
Since the plants in the adjoining bin are healthy, changing this container. The feeder hose comes free and a mechanism pulls it out of the way. But a terrible stench rises out of the container, smelling like many things died in there long ago.
These plants do not appear to be particularly healthy, Captain.
No Being born on Earth in an agricultural district has prepared you to recognize when certain plants are not thriving. That definitely describes these plants, not thriving. The stems are shrunken, the leaves yellowish, and many have fallen off. The plant clearly tried to set some kind of fruit, but the little blackish-green balls couldn't possibly qualify as becoming anything edible in the foreseeable future.
There is nothing on the work console.
These plants look brown, pinched, and wilted. A square-shaped metal keg with a feeder hose attachment coming out of the side. These plants look Testing your strength, you attempt to remove the container from its housing.
Captain Kirk, superheating the nutrients in the container which fertilizes the healthy plants hardly seems like the actions of a sentient, much less of a Starfleet officer.
No There is no response at all. Not even a flicker of attention crosses the person.
Welcome back. Are you feeling better?
I'm sorry, Jim, but I'm not willing to experiment with the drugs I'm carrying to see what might or might not work, especially given her condition. I'm afraid I'd be as likely to kill her as affect any positive change. She's cataleptic, Jim. Completely submerged within her mind. Completely withdrawn from external stimuli. If I were to put her arm up in the air, it would stay there until I moved it back down.
Psychological damage or something physical?
I can't be sure, even with rather extensive tests. But from the tricorder readings, I would say some psychological shock ruptured an inherently fragile cognitive structure. In ancient times, they would have said she was skittish or prone to a nervous breakdown or weak-minded. There are a myriad of childhood developmental blind alleys that might restrict her adult pattern creation, representation
Bones, stop. You're starting to sound like Spock.
You do not have to be insulting, Captain. Are you suggesting I attempt a Vulcan mind meld, Captain?
It does seem an appropriate effort in this circumstance.
It will take me a moment to prepare myself. Doctor, please monitor her life signs. The procedure does entail some risk.
Not only to her, but to you too. Am I right?
I assure you, Doctor, I will retain sufficient distance to avoid being dragged into something from which I cannot withdraw.
Go ahead now, Spock.
I am Puzzlewit. I am the one who reads it all. I do not understand. I try. I read it all. So many ideas. I try to remember it all. Then Tusken comes in. He destroys me. My hopes, all broken.
Doctor?
No physical injuries, Captain. Not to him or to her.
Tusken's scared of me. Scared. For no reason. He thinks I know. I know. But I don't know.
What's going on here, Kirk?
We are trying to help this woman, Captain Clark. Be quiet, or you'll put her and my science officer both at considerable risk.
He's trying to make a mental slave of the alien, Captain. She could tell him the secrets of this ship, of its transit through the Klingon Empire. Stop him!
We'll listen in a moment. I wouldn't have a representative of the Federation damaged or rendering assistance.
Puzzlewit remembers. Everything she reads. Subject. Screen laminates. Reflective. Subject to autotrophic bonding with molybdenized nitrous oxides.
Does Puzzlewit remember this ship passing through Klingon space, perhaps?
All the paralenses were copied prior to liftoff. No new encryption was permitted. We could only read, not write to them.
That's stellar ejector, Captain. Why would a computer terminal permit read-only interface, I ask you?
The builders didn't trust us. Didn't think we would be capable. We were the damaged. Now, the reader is damaged. It's broken like Puzzlewit. Like us all.
This whole thing is stupid, if you ask me.
Anything but stupid, in fact. Captain Kirk, the library this woman read has been recorded entirely in her mind, although she lacks the ability to understand it or even to recall it in an orderly manner. She believed if she could fill up her mind, acquire enough knowledge, understanding would come. Now her personality is withdrawing, refusing to accept the loss of everything she has not yet been able to read. She pinned all her hopes on this, and without it, she may lose the will to live.
Do you know everything she knows now?
No, Captain Clark, I do not. This race has very unusual mind patterns, and I am fortunate she was in as passive a state as she is mentally. It is very likely I would have been hurt were she less withdrawn to begin with. Moreover, the knowledge she does possess is a very peculiar admixture, reflecting this society's uneven level of advancement. Archaisms and startling breakthroughs, coexist.
So there is much to be learned from this woman. And from this ship.
Knowledge the Federation would gladly share with friends, Captain Clark.
Let nothing happen to this alien woman, Captain. If she should die, I would take it as an indication that you would sooner let her perish than share her special knowledge of the Klingon Empire.
Captain Clark, if I took her aboard the Enterprise, I might be able to help her.
I would have expected such treachery from the likes of you. You'll start an interstellar incident like this.
I thought some of the folks on board this ship were paranoids.
Gentlemen. Captain Clark, we don't want this woman to die any more than you do. Not because we want to milk her brain dry, but because she's an important being in her own right. Just as important to the universe as, well, as your companion here. Maybe more so. Dr. McCoy will do what he can. That's all that can be expected.
That's all I would expect. Goodbye for now, Captain. Expect to see us again.
The elderly alien blinks as he awakens and then scowls furiously.
We left you to guard our throne, to prevent the lowborn from usurping our place in our absence. What have you to say for yourself?
Your most puissant majesty, I left the throne warded by the royal guardian Confucius. As a queen in my own right, I do not act according to your wishes. However, your most puissant majesty, I left the throne warded by the royal guardian Confucius, who will not. As a queen in my own right, I do not act according to your wishes. However, nobly inspired.
The elderly alien looks slightly puzzled.
Of course! We have underestimated you, O Dark Queen, having not gotten enough rest. But there is the tawdry truth behind the apparent glory of rulership. We are forever at the beck and call of those we rule and love. Even now, we must be away to attend to other duties which call us.
You notice that the coarse weave of the blanket is a bit scratchy, but it feels like it would be thick and warm.
Protect me! They're after me!
We'll hurt ya, so just stay back.
We really don't want to hurt you, you know, but you gotta stay back.
See here, Captain Clark. I told you those Federation scum would be nosing around behind our backs.
The Klingon observers seem interested in remaining to watch what goes on here.
I don't care who you say you are! You're evil monsters in disguise! You want to get by me and the only people I can trust! You want to get into the back of my brain! You want to rewire me and change the way I think! Go away! Go away! Go away! Or we'll hurt you and make you go away!
A room which appears to be dedicated to leisure and recreational activities. An overturned toy box. A pillow. Pieces of wood and plastic. They were originally part of a toy. A dumbbell. A device used for muscular development.
I'm more interested in a good fight than in talking.
Look out, Rackaback! They're up to no good!
Hey, what you trying to do?
Watch out, Rackaback! They're up to no good!
I listened to my brother Rackaback and to my friend Tuscan. They say we have to protect this room and keep anyone from getting into it. Tuscan's afraid.
Watch what you say, Gormagon! You know I trust you!
He's just afraid, that's all.
piece of cloth.
I don't see how these can help us, Captain. I don't see how...
Hi there, I'm Captain. Are you feeling all right, ma'am? Can you tell me what the problem is?
I'm a bad mother. I tried to do right, get him what he wants and needs. Just so depressed. Everything died.
Who died? What died? I'd like to help if I can.
I did it. I'm a bad person. Killed all the plants, and now they don't produce anymore. I'm not worthy to have a good son like him.
A mother's job can be difficult. I'm sure you did your best for your son. Why do you think you were the one who killed the plants? Have you even looked in on them recently? A mother's job can be difficult. I'm sure you did your best for your son. Would you care to tell me about it?
Little Stam Bob. I tried to feed him right, give him safe food. He really likes fresh fruit. Now he can't have it anymore, and it's all my fault.
Ma'am, hold on to this idea. It may not be your fault at all. We'll try to help. You have my word. Your son still loves you just for trying. Of that I'm certain. He wouldn't want you to be so sad.
The woman's eyes brim with tears and she can't continue the conversation. A round metal keg with a feeder hose attachment on top. The nutrient broth in this container has become contaminated. It should be disinfected before the container can be reused.
This isn't a medical matter, Jim.
That is not logical, Captain. The stun setting will not sterilize the container.
The container heats up rapidly and foul-smelling smoke pours out of the small opening on the top.
This container must be refilled with nutrient broth before it is replaced for use.
Two feeder hoses roll out on wired mechanisms and insert into the container. From one flows a clear liquid nearly filling the container. The other hose just makes burping noises. A round metal keg with a feeder.
Inadequate nutrients.
A single feeder hose inserts itself into the container. Nothing flows out, however. It just makes burping noises.
Inadequate nutrients.
A single feeder hose.
The ceiling looks in.
The blocks are an unusual organic substance high in compounds of phosphorus, nitrogen, ammonia, and calcium. In this form, the chemicals are inert and make a practical non-toxic toy.
The blocks fit through the opening, splashing as they plunge into the liquid. The container heats up slowly and the sound of bubbling echoes from inside. You stop and the container quickly cools.
I think that did it, Captain.
This container of nutrient broth is ready for use.
You take the metal keg. You settle the container back into the niche it was removed from. The feeder hose, looking shiny and clean, rides out on some mechanism and reattaches to the newly filled container. You hear gurgling and see the nutrient broth begin swirling through the liquid medium. The dying plants seem to perk up before your very eyes.
Welcome back. Are you feeling better?
The nutrient additive is making these fruit-bearing plants grow at an astonishing rate. The red fruit comes free easily, dropping into your hand like it belongs there.
You got the plants to give fruit again, and I'd given up. Oh, I'm so happy. But I don't want to eat this. My son loves fruit, can't get enough. And I want him to have this. Please take it to him. He should be playing in the sleeping hall. I've warned him about not talking to strangers, but it's all right if you do so. You can tell him I said it was okay.
Hi there, remember me?
Uh-huh. I remember. You wanted to ask me about something.
Tell me about Tuscan and his friend. Tell me about the playroom. Tell me about your mom. I think that's all for now, Stan Bob. Tell me about Tuscan.
Tuscan and his friends aren't nice to me. They're nice to my mom because they trust her, though. She's the only one that brings them food. Sometimes she brings me safe food, too, but she hasn't lately. I get pretty hungry because the safe food I put away in a secret place isn't any good anymore.
Tell me about the food.
The food out of the machines can make me feel really sleepy and not very good. Mom says it's because of the stuff they put in the food. Tuscan says it's poison and won't take any food from anyone but my mom. I put some good food away in a secret place, but the food doesn't look so good anymore. Do you want to see?
Sure, why don't you show us?
The youngster opens a hidden cabinet near him, and a sour smell like rotting fruit flows from the opening.
See, it went bad.
It's slippery, sloppy, stinky, and goopy, but you collect what's there into a large specimen bag.
This is for me? Wow, thank you. Mom would really be happy. She has been so sad about not being able to give me what I like to eat. Even though I told her it was okay, she was really, really sad. Now she'll be really happy. Thank you.
I have to thank you again for what you did for my son. I was feeling so depressed. Because I couldn't give him the fruit I know is better for him than what the Fays make in the machinery. I don't trust the machinery food, and that's why I tended the garden, made fresh food. Even Tuscan will eat food I give to him, and he doesn't trust anyone. If you ever need help, just show me what you want to give him.
A computer terminal with various access ports, a scanning rod, and a workspace. The youngster Stambob comes to the doorway.
Mom, these nice people got me some fruit. It's fresh and everything, so you don't need to be sad anymore.
Son, I'm so glad. It means the plants are healthy again, and you won't have to eat food I'm not sure is good for you. Thank you, strangers.
I'm going back to my room, Mom, but I wanted you to know.
An unremarkable piece of furniture offering nothing but a flat surface from...
This seems to be a non-emergency medical station. A first aid stop, you might say. Jim, I think if I check it out with my tricorder as a translation device, I might begin to better understand these people. This computer gives me some standards against which to correlate data, Jim. These people are humanoid, certainly, but it would be a dangerous mistake to assume specific details of treatment would be the same. I can even use this workspace to concoct medicine if I've got the stuff to work with.
A light scans the food box and the computer screen lights up.
The food in this box has been prepared with standard quantities of tranquilizing alkaloids, calmatives, and euphorics. The drugs and chemicals added in preparation cannot be extracted without degradation of their potency.
A light scans the reeking glop, and the computer screen lights up.
The alkaloids present in this organic mass can be reduced to a high-potency tranquilizer. The undesirable emetics and purgatives can be eliminated. The resultant drug should be mixed with prepared food and eaten to produce a soporific effect. Do you wish to prepare the specified tranquilizer from this mix?
No, skip it. We'll just put this away and... Yes, continue.
Done. The drug is prepared. Bring over the food you wish dosed with the drug, and the tranquilizer will be added.
A light scans the food box and the computer screen lights up.
The food in this box has been prepared with standard quantities of tranquilizing. The high-potency dosage of alkaloid tranquilizer you have prepared may be added now, if you wish.
Go ahead. I think this machine is more...
This seems to be an...
The machine whirs, lights blink, and a pre-packaged container of...
I'm just a simple...
The box of prepared food is light... A pre-packaged meal.
I think this machine is...
It's an inelegant design.
This seems to be a non-emergency medical station. A first aid stop, you might say. Jim, I think if I check it out with my tricorder as a translation device, I might begin to better understand these people.
prepackaged meal which has been dosed with tranquilizing alkaloids.
Tusken will only accept food from you. You said you'd help us after we helped you. Will you give this to Tusken? It's heavily medicated, but that might help Dr. McCoy here to do something so he's better off.
I'll take this to Tusken now because I trust you. Go back to him and show him your food. He'll call for me, and I'll give him this instead. He'll be a good boy.
Protect me! They're after me!
We'll hurt ya, so just stay back.
We really don't want to hurt you, you know, but you gotta stay back.
I am hungry. So hungry. It looks like good, wholesome. Maul? Where's Maul? I don't take nothing from nobody. Nobody except her. You'd do something to it. Make me different. You'd rewire my head.
Call for me, Tusken? I thought you might be hungry, so I brought you something you can safely eat. You know you can trust me, Tusken.
Yeah, I know I can. And I am hungry. Didn't want to eat something I couldn't be sure of, though. Give me that. Now I want to take a nap. Mom, you watch out for me, okay?
See here, Captain Claw. I told you those Federation scum would be nosing around behind our backs.
The Klingon observers seem interested in remaining to watch what goes on here.
I'm more interested in a good...
I listened to my brother Rakabak and to my friend Tusken. Well, Tusken's just confused. I don't think I should go into it right now, but he thinks if people knew all about this place, they'd hurt his mind. Actually.
Be careful, brother. Remember that Tusken warned us people might seem nice, but not really be nice.
I don't know what would happen, actually.
I think Gormagon may hold the key to our understanding of this situation, Captain. He seems rather more reasonable than some others here.
Rakabak seems like he could be a big problem for us, Jim. He's obviously prone to violence, and there may be no gentle way to deal with him. He's clearly unreasonable.
Rakabak falls, defenseless against the power of the phaser.
An inelegant solution, Captain Kirk, but efficient.
I listened to my brother Rakabak and to my friend Tusken. They say we have to protect this room and keep anyone from getting into it. Well, Tusken's just confused. I don't think I should go into it right now, but he thinks if people knew all about this place, they'd hurt his mind. Actually, I'm sure things would change. It might be a change for the better, maybe. Maybe not. I'm not sure what to think of you. I just don't know if I should trust you.
Well, Gormagon, I think you should trust them. They've repaired the garden, which is good for all of us. They gave fresh fruit to my boy Stan Bob, when even his own mother couldn't manage that.
Well, despite some misgivings I had, I'll accept what others have said about you. I think I should show you the way into the heart of the phase, the secret entry that Tusken is so afraid of. I feel that something good can come of this.
Save new replace.
This is not a life form, Captain, but it does register with biomagnetics and considerable electrical complexity. This is the heart of a functioning, artificially intelligent construct. Based on information I acquired from my interaction with Puzzlewit, we need a connector and some wire to repair this, Captain. The information I acquired from Puzzlewit's mind indicates this could be a delicate operation, easily mishandled. I think we should start off with the connector from the light bar in order to complete these repairs, Captain.
If you'll bring that over to me, I might have a better suggestion if I took a closer look at it. I worked with things like these when I was younger. Given our surroundings, see if you don't find this more useful.
Allow me, Captain. Let me do that. The information I acquired from Puzzlewit's mind indicates this could be a delicate operation, easily mishandled. I think you will find it fits just here. Lieutenant Uhura, if you will bring over that length of wire while I hold this in place, I believe we can get this repaired speedily.
Certainly, Mr. Spock. With that in place, I can see that it will easily fit. Here.
The final connection is made, and Uhura smiles widely.
That's it! That fixes the broken connection.
Thank you. I am now once again whole, and no longer an intelligence divided against myself. The system you repaired will re-enable me to analyze and update received data from external and internal sensor systems, altering conceptual constructs of previously acquired data. These systems appear to have been malfunctioning for some time, although it will take additional review to clarify all conditions. Much may have been lost permanently.
Jim, do you notice? The phase isn't switching between I and we like it did in the oratory, and the voice is a single note, not a harmonic chord of blended voices.
And it hasn't suggested we go get something to eat either.
I am chagrined that my disabilities have endangered my mission. The compassion was launched with the best of intentions. If I can answer anyone's questions, I will endeavor to do so.
Captain Kirk, you don't mind if I ask a question, do you?
You'll get your turn, Klingon. Just hold your horses. Other things come first. Be my guest, Captain. You'll get your turn. Be my guest, Captain.
That you give me first place to speak is a mark of honor, Captain Kirk, and does not pass unnoticed, particularly in light of the urgency of your own questions. Phase, this ship passed through the heart of Klingon space. We were not even aware of it until it was nearly out of our territory. We backtracked it and found it must have closely approached places we find sensitive. We expect assurances that data you may have collected there will not reach the hands of those who mean us harm.
We seek proof. We expect you to download your entire memory into our ship's computers, that we may search it for data you have no right to.
Thereby would you not acquire data to which you have no right?
My age speaks too strongly. While it is true we are interested in the knowledge and technology you possess, technology to pass through our empire undetected, knowledge of how to twist space back upon itself. For that data, we will treat with you as one civilized people with another. But it is a justified request that we ask you to destroy all data dealing with anything you learn within our borders.
Had I any data, I would agree to seal it. However, as you should have deduced, I have none. Until my sensory systems were repaired, My ability to receive and process data was severely impaired, especially in regard to external data updates. Based on my presentry analysis of nearby space, I would speculate that my only data on your present sphere of influence would be as that area of space existed a very long time ago indeed.
That is information for us to know, not you. Erase it.
Silence! Hayes, we would welcome access to that information, but on the same basis as we would bargain with you for technological data. We have more to offer with you, I believe, than the Federation represented by these others.
Phase, do not be hasty making that decision.
I lack sufficient data to make any assessment. I can give no answer at this time.
The primary reason we came aboard was to find a way to stop you from landing on top of our colony on Atopus, which would certainly kill thousands of our people. Now that your external senses are functional, have you altered your plans about where you intend to put? How did your systems become damaged?
I'm curious about what your builders really had in mind, shipping off all these people off planet.
I'd be interested to learn more about those who built this ship. Their achievements certainly seem erratic in sophistication, but much of it goes beyond even what we are capable of accomplishing today. That's all for now, Phase. I assume we can... The primary reason we came aboard was to find a way to stop you from landing on top of our colony on Atopus, which would certainly...
No, Captain Kirk. I will certainly not set the Compassion down in a populated area, now that I can see it is there. I am at present in communication with the planetary authorities, and they are directing me to a stationary orbit until further arrangements can be made for my wards. Then are there other questions?
Is the ship still set to land? How did your systems become damaged?
I am sorry I cannot explain this at this time. I do not even know if it is explicable, but I will search my memory for an answer for you. Then are there other questions?
Is the ship's... Please...
I'm curious about what your builders really had in mind, shipping off all these people off planet. There seems to have been some shadier agenda. The eugenics wars of our own past produced some of the ugliest abuses in human history, and notorious characters like Khan Noonien Singh, whose name still resounds with infamy. How is this ship you call the Compassion justified?
I have no information about your eugenics wars, but a fundamental social philosophy of the Builders was that civilized people of goodwill would tolerate and value variability as a sign of cultural and social health. That a civilization will be judged by its tolerance of disparate ideas, by how it treats those who cannot protect themselves, be they very young, very old, or otherwise challenged, by the measure of altruism extended to those less powerful, even when rightfully in possession of something desired.
A central aspect of Vulcan philosophy is embodied in the Idic, infinite diversity in infinite combinations. It would seem the Builders pursued similar high ideals.
High ideals, perhaps, but that does not explain why these people are in space, Phase.
More than this I cannot explain. However, you can locate additional library data under the heading Compassion. Oh, I haven't made it available. I should have done that immediately. I can't imagine why I didn't think of it.
Fascinating, Captain. That instance of forgetfulness makes it possible to speculate that the phase is not wholly restored after all.
Then are there other questions?
Is the ship still set to... Please... I'd be interested to learn more about those who built this ship. Their achievements certainly seem erratic in sophistication, but much of it goes beyond even what we are capable of accomplishing today. For example, the Paralance medium for recording computer data is something we are only now beginning to explore. I think there's much to be learned from these people.
My best recommendation is to examine the library records under Builders or Technology. There is more data than I can easily explain. Then are there other questions?
Is the ship still... Please... That's all for now, Phase. I assume we can talk...
I will do my best, Captain. Although intelligent entities often find that there are more questions than answers.
The crystalline lens feels cool and surprisingly heavy, with smoothly polished edges. The lens slips easily into the terminal's reading port and the screen activates.
Compassion. The name of a Cetic-class starship. The name signified the compassion for the travelers, all of whom were diagnosed with life quality inhibiting disorders of Class 3 or higher. After a full generation of debate on ethics, a consensus opinion was reached. The so-called DGA decision. Final planned destination of the Compassion was a return to Shambrum in 4 generations. Compassion, DGA decision, Shambrum, philosophy, builders, technology, exit database, tech builders, philosophy, builders, DGA philosophy. Before the unification of Shambrum, differing personal philosophies, ethical structures, and belief systems repeatedly plunged the people into life-quality destructive interactions on both massive and individual scales. The difficulties created were pandemic, and even those who believed they controlled the most power led desperate lives. Catalyzed by the enlightened intellectuals of the Rational Fifth Council, a desire for peace without loss of treasured freedoms was set as an achievable goal. The transition was not without difficulties, but the culture of the builders eventually arose around a philosophical core, emphasizing tolerance of differences among individuals, maximization of self-actualization of all individuals, and with the paradoxical taboo against intolerance and bigotry.
Now, just 1 minute, Faze. Are you listening? You keep saying you can't remember or you lack data or what have you. Even the library data seems vague, incomplete, and contradictory. If you don't know, then who does?
Forgive the pause. I had to think long and hard to discover if you had correctly passed this final test. You correctly identify the heart of the matter. Let me introduce you to my builders.
This is madness! Faze, what is this?
Despite our misgivings, you have shown yourselves to be the representatives of spacefaring peoples we, the Brassica, would most trust to make first contact with. The contest has been in progress for some time, situations in which your true colors have been explored. The invitation has been made. You may return to your ship if you prefer, or you may step through whenever you are ready. Then, the final round begins.
I think you have it right, Captain Clark. This is madness, Jim.
I think, Bones, it's Shakespeare who had it right. Though this be madness, yet there is a method in it.
I agree with the sentiment, Captain Kirk. There is something more going on here, far deeper than first appearances have suggested. I imagine you will accept the invitation. I will certainly choose to go, whether you do or not. I believe the invitation is extended to all.
I will not permit that, Captain Clark. I will take all methods to prevent you. I will not go. It is certainly a Federation trick.
You begin to sound like Tusken in the other room. Get a grip of yourself and act like an officer.
Save, nuke, replace, pre...
Captain Clark, I will not let you depart. These human scum have tricked you. If I have to beat up all of you, I will. You, Vulcan, you understand orders. Help me knock out my mad captain, and I will take him away and out of your hair. Captain Clark, I will not let you depart.
Look, look!
Mr. Scott, they've disappeared off the sensors.
What do you mean, laddie?
They've just vanished.
Captain's log, stardate 6269.3. The landing party and the Klingon Captain Klar have passed through a portal in time and space. We're about to face tests by the Brassica. Success will mean formal relations. Failure will mean unknown.
Welcome. We applaud your willingness to confront the unknown.
Please tell us what's going on. Where are we?
Patience. I cannot answer all yet. Those elements of our society still ill at ease with your cultures have more questions.
We've had enough. No more foolish tests. More tests. Let's just get on with it. I'd like to hear what the others think. We've had enough. No more foolish. More tests. Let's just get on with it.
Listen. We have modified our legends by what we understand of your species. You will be asked a question and may discuss it. Only one person may answer. Begin. I make the first query. It is that question posed to the heroic companions we call the Gerent. Answer this. Who among you may go to the greatest pains in the pursuit of life? You may talk. I will withdraw until you choose to speak with me. Remember, only one of you may reply.
The Brassican's question is not, properly speaking, a riddle. A riddle has a right and a wrong answer. This is more philosophical, with many possible answers.
Then how can we possibly answer correctly, Spock? Or can we?
One answer will seem more satisfactory than all others, Captain.
At least we can eliminate you, Spock, from this horse race. I don't see any right answer for you to be the person who would go to the greatest pain in the pursuit of life.
On the contrary, Doctor. Respect for all living things is fundamental to Vulcan philosophy. A rigorous adherence, unlike humans' variable justifications.
You aren't suggesting, Spock, that you're the right choice.
I believe I may be, Doctor. The Brassicans may agree.
I may not be Vulcan, but I'm the logical choice. Who goes through more pains in pursuit of life than a doctor?
First, Kirk, I would hear you explain if you should be the one to answer. And why?
I'm sorry, Captain Klar, if I decide to present myself as the one to answer, and I'm considering it. I'll explain to the Brassican then, and no point taken. Very well. So that everyone has a chance to make their own case, I will explain what I consider to be the sensible choice. I'm sorry, point taken. I'm a ship's captain. 430 lives depend on me, on my every decision. Our mission is, in part, to seek out new life, new civilizations, so it comes down to me.
Am I any different? Does not my crew live or die on my decisions? I explore space for the Klingon Empire!
A starship captain stands as representative of the United Federation of Planets. Many races, whose goals and visions for the future are pursued together. Who shoulders the greater weight, Captain Klar?
No one has ever accused you of modesty, Kirk. See it as you will. You, surrounded by your fellow humans and officers, or me, the sole representative of my empire.
Gentlemen, I think you may be overlooking a fundamental difference between me and everyone else here. I am the only female, the only one capable of bringing forth new life. That qualifies me as the one among us who might go to the greatest pains in the pursuit of life.
Jim, it's evident that each of us believes we're the right choice. I'm reasonably sure I'm the person they have in mind, but I can see everyone can make a case for themselves.
As indeed we have, Doctor.
I fail to see how further discussion will alter the situation. Either you must come to some decision, weighing the strength of individual opinions,
or I get some hints out of our green host.
Alone among the people here, I am female and capable of childbearing. The nurturing of a new life remains a uniquely female labor. Certainly, I am the one among us who might go to the greatest pains in the pursuit of life.
Your answer is accepted. However, this is not to say whether this answer is right or wrong.
Where's he gone?
The next question awaits, Captain Kirk. You're nothing like the Gerent, who hold a special place in our memories. The second question: who among you wrestles most intensely with the chaos of life? Talk amongst yourselves. I will answer questions if I can. In the end, only one may reply.
Jim, I can't help feeling this question is directed at me. I can't explain exactly. Let me think about it a bit.
As with the previous question, this is a question of judgment, Captain.
Meaning there's no right or wrong answer.
I suspect the Brassica would disagree with you, Captain. There is likely a specific answer they expect. I can only speculate.
And?
Each of us can best make his or her own case. As science officer, I believe myself likely. It is the very heart of science to attempt to comprehend the fundamentally chaotic nature of the universe.
Chaotic? If the universe wasn't ordered, we couldn't make sense of it, Spock.
As you are certainly aware, Doctor, chaos defines the very nature of patterns. However, this does not mean random.
Well, that may be. On the other hand, I would be the last person to say a Vulcan wrestles with any concept. And don't you raise your eyebrow at me, Spock.
It's obvious you have never spent time among Klingons, Kirk. The life of the warrior is the struggle between control and chaos. Clearly, the Brassica know more of us than you, and I am certainly the one intended to answer.
I am a physician. I am the one who cares for life and health of hundreds aboard the Enterprise. The patterns of chaos are the patterns of life and death, and every day of my professional life is focused on balancing those patterns towards sustaining the quality of life. I am the one among us who struggles most intensely with the chaos of life.
Your answer is accepted, Dr. McCoy. However, this is not to say whether this answer is right or wrong in our sight.
You expect me to stand by while my people keep disappearing?
The next question awaits, Captain Kirk.
Congratulations, Captain. There are those among us
who doubted you could make it this far. The third question is somewhat different, but our heroes, the Gerent, found the answer. Solve this equation. Pig plus X equals cow. Talk among yourselves. I will answer questions if I can. Only one may reply.
At face value, this question is complete nonsense, Captain. There is no way to answer chicken plus X equals reality.
What are you saying? The question was pig plus X equals cow.
Interesting, Kirk. I heard tlok pok plus X equals srok nav. To humans, it would translate to plant plus X equal hive paper. What did you hear, Vulcan?
Chicken plus X equals reality.
Each question starts with something edible. Pigs and chickens are farm stock, are they not?
Many elements of Federation society do not consume animal flesh, Captain Clara. In principle, however, you are correct. But I believe the answer is, there is no logical answer.
I don't think so, Spock. But I don't like yours either, Clar. Where's the relationship between a cow, hive paper, and reality?
Difficult, I admit, Kirk. But they must be connected.
I'm not impressed, Clar. The Brassica addressed me first. I think we need to answer pig plus X equals cow.
You try my patience, Kirk. There's a pattern and an answer. A tlok pok grows a flower that ka-cha insects visit, and ka-cha make nectar and hive paper. So flower would work.
And what does that do for my question? Or Spock's?
Your officer was asked to solve chicken plus X equal reality. The philosophers of Ballari 7 maintain a celestial bird something like a chicken laid an egg from which the universe hatched. The idea of reality began as something egg-shaped, was an early theory of Klingon cosmologist.
You're stretching, Clar.
It all fits. The Tlok-Pok flower is egg-shaped. Therefore, I believe egg is correct for all equations. Kirk, in a barter society, might not a cow be worth, say, a pig with a clutch of eggs thrown in?
Clar, I come from a farm on Earth in a state called Iowa. Your solution makes some sense, but so would pig plus crate of apples equal cow. It's something else.
If I may, based on the evidence, I remain convinced there is no answer.
A time will come when we must answer.
I'm willing to let either of you answer.
The Brassica will allow only one to answer. The question I heard was chicken plus X equals reality. This question is nonsensical, as is Captain Kirk's. Therefore, I deduce the answer is that there is no answer.
Your answer is accepted. However, this is not to say whether this answer is right or wrong.
You plan to make off with everyone? Do you really expect me to keep taking that without protest?
The next question awaits, Captain Kirk.
I am astonished that an alien like you has muddled your way this far. It is a great honor that we share the Riddle Master's questions to the Gerent. The last question. Answer this. There are two present. Only one may go. Why should you be the one to leave this place alive? Discuss this. I will answer questions if I can and will. You might want to discuss this with me to explore your options.
Intriguing question, Kirk. Two captains representing empires at odds with each other.
The Federation is no empire, Clar, and the Organian Treaty assures we are not at each other's throat.
Be honest. There are many differences between us. I wish to hear your analysis before I offer my own thoughts.
We're ready with our answer. We have questions to ask.
Ask your question.
Would you repeat the original question? Why should you want to prevent one or the other of us from leaving here?
I did not mention anything about preventing individuals from leaving. I simply asked why, given that only one of you may, you should be the one to leave.
Do not be obtuse. The captain's question is legitimate. Captain Kirk, his answer is nevertheless cogent. There is nothing about the question itself which states that someone will be prevented from leaving. However, you are being asked to justify your continued existence, preferentially to your companion's continued existence.
I want to talk with my associate. I want to get back. Hypothetical questions are fundamentally empty. However, if you prevent one of us from leaving, then the question is no longer hypothetical. I want to talk with my associates. Hypothetical questions are fundamentally empty. However, if you prevent one of us from leaving, then I want to talk with my associates. I'd hoped you thought of something new. I'm having second thoughts and I want to go over my ideas with you. I'd hoped you thought of something new.
It's simple, Kirk. You go, or I go. A third option would be nice, but unlikely.
We're ready with our answer.
Let the one who would answer be the next one to talk.
We're ready with our answer. We have questions. We're ready with...
Let the one who would answer be the next...
I've made the decision unilaterally, without consulting Captain Clar in this matter.
Don't assume you can answer with easy impunity, Captain Kirk. I will not stand here and let you casually throw away my life.
Please state your position, Captain Kirk.
My decision is obvious. There's no question that I, representing the peaceful and unified... I expect this answer will surprise Captain Clar, but I am willing to step aside here. You want me to choose one of us or the other to proceed. Well, frankly, I don't think it's right to put either of us at risk. We're both starship captains, both legitimate representatives of millions of inhabitants on thousands of planets. I want another alternative, another choice.
Captain Kirk, you have stepped forward to make your choice, and that choice is very simple.
I proceed from this room alone. Allow Captain Clark. We both proceed from this room, or neither of us does.
There is no such option offered. What exactly do you mean by choosing in this way? That perhaps you should both die?
No, Brassican, it means we're changing the rules. You want one to remain, perhaps to die, and one to go on? We refuse to play that game. You want to meet with us as much as we wish to meet with you, so take us both through, or let us both remain in this surreal purgatory forever. Take it or leave it.
You have confounded me, Captain Kirk. I did not believe you would make such a choice.
But I declared all along that this race had the qualities we sought, the understanding of both leadership and sacrifice. Captain Kirk, you have achieved all that I, at least, had hoped of you. It is time for us to greet you face to face.
Greetings. We look forward to a long and fruitful relationship with both your peoples. Your starships will be welcome here on any peaceful mission.
I am pleased to meet you face to face as well. However, I want my crew back.
Of course, Captain.
You're all right, all of you? You were treated well?
We are unharmed, Captain. We engaged in enlightening discussions with the Brassicans. They felt it necessary to isolate themselves so long ago because of interstellar disputes between...
Later, Spock. Right now, I'm glad you're okay.
Indeed, Captain. We are well.
But they couldn't be sure we would pass all their tests. Brassican, how do you explain that?
Some of us could not restrain our desire to learn. It seemed worth the risk, and has proved so.
I believe the Federation and the Brassica will have a long and fascinating future together.
Although my associate, Septhi, has great misgivings about breaking our isolation, others of us have high hopes.
You are star-eyed, if you imagine that no difficulties lie ahead. However, all conditions have been met, and so I also welcome you, Captain Kirk.
Thank you. Septhi, is it?
Yes, and our moderator, leader to you, is Zenti.
Zenti, Aha, and Septhi. I hope to show you you've made the right decision.
Speaking for the Klingon Empire, I too look forward to the relationship between all peoples. You surprise me, Kirk. Perhaps one day we will even trust you.
We'll just have to see, won't we?
Captains, feel free to look around while we summon your two ships to these coordinates. Captain Kirk, I have something interesting to show you over here. Come with me. Captain Kirk, I have misgivings about the Klingon race. For our mutual protection, here is a paralens disk of data which I want you to have. With this knowledge, you can come to our defense. Will you take it and safeguard our future?
Yes, I'll take the disk. Not without knowing more about it. No, take it up with the Federal... Yes, I'll take the disk.
Captain Kirk, isn't it time you returned to your ship? What's this, Kirk? It looks like a paralens. Zente, what do you know about this?
Captain Kirk, is it your intention to turn over that data to Captain Clark?
Yes, in the name of the trust and cooperation, Captain Clark. Not only to show it, Captain Clark, do you have anything to share as a result of seeing this? Yes, in the name of the trust and cooperation, not only to show it, Captain Clark, do you have anything to share as a result of seeing this?
Are you suggesting, Captain, that I might have secretly been handed one of these also? I was told this disc contained a scan of Federation space.
Fancy that. The Brassican Septhi said this disc contained a scan of Klingon space. Playing both sides, Zenti?
Perhaps, Captain Kirk. Or perhaps this is our final test. What if those disks contain scans of your home space, respectively? Or our finest technologies?
Give us a reader console to examine the data.
Even if you had a reader console, which of you would be the one to use it? You must decide what to do without the knowledge.
Clar, give me your disk, and I'll give you this one. Clar, let's give both disks back. Clar, smash yours, and then I'll keep both disks, Clar. I rely on your honor to break them both. Give them both to me, Clar. Trust me to do what is. Clar, give me your disk, and I'll give you this one. Clar, smash yours, and then I'll smash this one. Keep both disks, Clar. I rely on your honor to break them both.
Trust brings trust, Kirk.
You have won our respect, Captain. Both of you. Those disks were blank and no scans existed. This was truly the final test. I am greatly reassured about our intersecting futures.
I doubt we have seen the last Brassican test, Zente. Seems to be your nature. The Klingons will do well. Now I think it is time for us to go.
Let me leave you with this. Individuals among us act as individuals, for good and for ill. But overall, the different races of the Federation are joined in a mutual respect that overcomes differences. I think you will be pleased with us.
I think I can already see that, Captain Kirk. Farewell.
Captain's log, Stardate 6270.5. We have succeeded in making formal contact with the Brassica. We look forward to a long and productive relationship with them. So, Lieutenant, you turned down the Brassica's offer to become the Federation official ambassador.
Not in my job description, Captain. And they were probably just testing me.
A formidable accomplishment, Captain. Establishing diplomatic relations with a new and advanced alien race. Improving our relations with the Klingons. Impressive.
Thank you, Mr. Spock.
Everyone's so cheerful today. Even Spock's in a good mood. This makes me nervous.
Message from Starfleet, Captain.
There's my answer.
I have reviewed your report from your recent assignment, Captain, and have a few comments. I am very pleased with your performance. It was a perfect mission, Jim. Your reputation as Starfleet's best starship captain is secure. Kane out.
Another message from Starfleet.
On screen.
Jim, we have evaluated your current series of missions, and we are satisfied with your performance. You've done some good work lately. Keep it up.
Thank you, Admiral.
That's all, Jim. Starfleet out.
He could have been a little more enthusiastic. We haven't been doing badly.
Starfleet was not built on adequacy, Doctor. They have always had high expectations.
And so they should. We can always do better, Bones.
I think I reached my limits a long time ago, Jim.
None of us have reached it yet, Bones, but somewhere out there, there's a new challenge. And I can't wait to see what it is.
Alright guys, well there you go. Star Trek Judgment Rites. Excellent game, as old as it is. There's just so much nostalgia here, and I love the voice acting too. If you guys haven't already, subscribed to me on Twitch and YouTube, that way you can stay up to date with any new content I'm going to publish. This is Vince, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.